Throw the slides. That literally just for you, so you can't see it. That doesn't matter to them. Yes, sir. You did what you do. Come on. Good, good. You did your homework. It is a God. It's like Christmas for me. It's homework. I know, I'm taking it. You know. 90 seconds. I need good answers for both. Give up a good conversation.
Even power, because people are going to end up arguing.
Why didn't you say it?
Is she in it?
No?
Is she in it?
All right, I'm going to wind you guys down there. If I can get your eyes back up here. And off of your lip class, please. Thank you. I'm glad you want to live beautiful class, but I promise you nobody cares. Ash, talk to me. Can a nation be too democratic?
So we were just saying, well, I said that I think it can just because, like, everybody has a different opinion, and, like, you're not going to be able to, like, satisfy everybody's sentiment. There has to be a balance.
Okay.
And Leslie said that she partially agreed, that she does believe that everybody should have, like, a voice and everything, but, like, she thinks that people have things going on in their everyday lives and they can't continuously try to make decisions.
Okay.
They might get overwhelmed and, like, they just have to, like, go crazy.
Okay, that's reasonable. What do you see? What do you think?
I put that a nation cannot be too democratic because it is not always going to be what the people want.
Okay. Not a bad point. Not a bad point. Speak to me.
The people don't know what they need. So
The people don't know what they need. So you're telling me that somebody else knows what I need, but I don't?
yep, to an extent.
Whoa, what are you trying to say?
Everybody.
Parenthood, yeah, okay. But parenthood's a good example.
The staff. Like in school.
Speak to me. I see your hand up a little bit.
I put a nation can be too democratic because then it can be manipulated and like changed into whatever a person, one single person or one group wants it to be. So then it'll just become self-serving to them, not really applying to the good of all, but the good of themselves.
All right, I dig that. I dig that. Speak to it.
What about, wouldn't it always change then? There would never be like the actual set anything because if the people change their minds and the rules and everything else change.
When the people change their mind, the rules change, it all goes to hell, it's all chaotic. It's possible. So let me ask you a different question. I'm going to use Andrea. Obviously a very smart young woman. Everyone look at Andrea. Look at her. Look at her. All right. Chances are she's smarter than you. Chances are. Chances are. You want to go down this road again? Chances are she's smarter than you. She's obviously really well prepared for class. She knows what she's talking about. She's well spoken, but she's reserved. She doesn't get all wild in class and crazy when I share her opinion all the time. She's the ideal citizen. Agreed? Look at her. She's fantastic. What more could you want in a voter, in a participant in our world? You with me? Yeah. And then we got Alex Arazo. We got Alex Arazo over here, who has nothing valuable to say, but yet and still does not shut up. So in our perfect democratic system, she gets one vote. And unfortunately for society, he also gets one vote. I don't know why you're laughing. Think about your dumbest friend. We all got one. Now, maybe not your friend here, because obviously all the scholars at Alliance, Patty, and Peter Newark Leadership Academy are fantastic. But think about your friend, maybe you grew up with from the neighborhood, goes to a different school. He skips school, she skips school 3 times a week, stays home, smokes weed all day, plays Fortnite, and accomplishes nothing. Lexile level of 12. Think of that friend. That friend in a couple years, will they have the exact same actual political power as you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good. So, these are just like the nice thing about today and Monday and really for the next couple weeks is I need you to think about two things with me. All right. Thing one is theoretical. Systems of government, the way governments are set up, big picture. And then I need you to think about actuality. As opposed to what happens in theory, what actually happens on the ground level. So today, the first part of today is a little bit big picture, and I need you to put on that kind of thinking hat with me. To think about like systems of government and theories of government. It's very AP government-esque. And then we're going to try to apply all that theory into how the U.S. actually creates a government and how terrible it is. So let's talk about question 2 then. Knowing what we just know, what we just experienced in the country, or as colonies living under Great Britain's rule, what are we going to try to avoid? Kelsey, give me something. What are we going to try to avoid? I need more specifics than that. Speak to me. A monarchy. So centralized power. Good. Stop. Talk to me. Thank you.
Tyranny.
Tyranny. Too much power in the hands of some. Good. Talk to me. No representation. Okay, I agree. What else might we try to avoid, Peter? Taxes. Check it. Check. All 4 of you very nicely done. Those are 4 of the main things we're going to try to avoid. But let's also think about big picture, the fact that humans often go from one extreme to the other. I'm going to draw a little thing up here before we can start with our actual lecture. Just background theoretical stuff. I heard tyranny and I heard monarchy. On one side of this spectrum, we have what I'll call, I'll put those into one umbrella, centralized authority. Centralized power. In that all the power is in the hands of a small place. All right, you history geniuses. What's the opposite of centralized power? Decentralized power. Ah, you're so smart. What would I do without you? I can see it. I can see into the second row. So the problem in society, as we engage in this process today, is we're going to go from living under this to living all the way under this. When in reality, I'm going to argue the happy medium is probably a better place to live. One extreme or the other is never a good thing. How many of you know people who are like trying to start a diet? Yeah, I'm going to try to always give you guys human analogies when I can. So check this out. This is not me, because obviously I'm in the peak utmost physical shape that any person can ever be in. Excuse me. Abs, man. Take on film. You came up in front of class and felt my peg the other day. It was very awkward, but you got excited about it. I had 30 witnesses. And this one's credible. So let's talk about diets. How many people do you know who are like, man, they should eat burritos and burgers and fried chicken all the time? And they're like, oh man, I'm going to start a new diet tomorrow. I'm going to eat nothing but spinach. Fruit and vegetables, and I'm cutting out all the bad stuff, and I'm going straight for the health food aisle. Yes? That's this. You've gone from one extreme, fried chicken 3 meals a day. Sign me up. All the way to, I'm going to eat Brussels sprouts every day. That's it. No bad food, nothing. But tell me, how well does that diet work out? Bad. Because you can't go from one extreme to the other because you're over here eating your spinach like a rabbit. And you're like, man, you know what I really need? I just want to lick a piece of fried chicken. I just want to smell it. Just eat a little. People can't go from one extreme to the other. You need to find balance in life. Right? Have that fried chicken. And then go to the gym. Eat a salad tomorrow. It's going to be okay. Right? Try, instead of that Snickers bar, I got an idea. It's a wild idea. It's crazy. Just see how it feels on you. Try an apple. I know. It's like, you know what? That bag of chips is good, but have you heard of carrots? They're good too. And it's not that you shouldn't have chips. What about veggie chips? Different story. It's not that you shouldn't have chips or fried chicken or burgers. It's that you shouldn't have just one or just the other. So what we're going to see today is we've gone from fully centralized power to fully decentralized power. We're going to realize the flaws of that system. And on Monday, when we talk about the Constitution, find this middle balance. Find this middle balance. So honest question. Before you took this class, how many of you have heard of the Articles of Confederation? Exactly. You are like most Americans, have no idea we had a system of government before the Constitution. Because in general, as you guys know about American history, we like to cover up our failures. But in this case, our first system of government looks like this. It falls flat on its face, and we need to change it. So today we'll talk about it falling flat on its face and why, the theoretical sense, how it falls on its face, the factual sense. And that sets us up really nicely for Monday to talk about how we fix it and how our solution has lasted the next 240 years. Not bad. Not bad. How many of you know how to ride a bike? Good. How many of you fell the first time you rode a bike? Yeah. And then you go, oh, you didn't? You're supposed to ride the tricycle. And what that does, though, is it shows you that the first time you do something, it doesn't matter who tells you how to do it. Yeah, just get on and pedal. Well, why couldn't you do it? Why'd you fall? If I told you how, Andy, you're going to get on a bike, you're going to get on the bike, and you're going to pedal. Why didn't you do it right the first time? Yeah, because I told you how, you didn't know how. So we know how to create a system of government, we just don't know how, we don't know what to do once it comes down to actually do things. First time for everything. Start from scratch. Our title for today is Society, Politics, and Economics under the Articles of Confederation. Before we know, the Articles is our first system of government. Here's your AP prompt. Mr. Tommy, can you read for us, please? Nice and loud.
Evaluate the extent which the Articles of Confederation provided an effective system of governance and the United States during and after the Revolutionary War.
Excellent. Time permitting, in a workable third period, by the end of class today, we're going to contextualize and thesis statement this. Bang, bang. And we're going to outline an LEQ. So, by the end of class today, I'll show you how easy it is to write an LEQ when you know what you're writing about. It's a good prompt. Also, the College Board loves the Articles of Confederation. So, we're going to teach you well because it's not the most exciting piece of American history, but I'm going to do my best to make it exciting, make it applicable and relevant, and whether it's exciting or not, you're going to learn it. All right? Thanks, College Board. Your key concept is here. Big picture, the Articles unified these new independent states into a type of system of government, but there's a lot of struggles. More difficulties than success leads to calls for a new, stronger central government. That middle ground I'm talking about. We tried this end, let's go to the middle. And your objective is very simple. You're going to answer the prompt in a contextualization thesis statement. And I'm going to give you feedback on how we're doing that. Great quote. Philadelphia newspaper during the Revolutionary War. Which one of us should be the rulers? Take 30 seconds and just discuss this quote with the person next to you. What stands out? What are they trying to get at? What is revealed about colonial society from this quote? 30 seconds. Go. I see that.
But I'm saying that it might be like a Chinese people, they don't have they have experience being control. Yeah. See, because you know, like, they usually give their opinions during the rest.
I got 5 left.
What do they give it?
I got 3, 2, 1. And you are done. This is a very powerful short line. What do you think when you read this line, sir?
I think the indecisive.
They're indecisive? Is it their fault? I'm going to tell you it's really easy to declare independence. It's really hard to create a brand new system of government from scratch. You're riding a bike. First time you do it, you're going to fall off. Andy, what stands out to you in this quote, sir? heard you guys having a good conversation. Just repeat it back up here.
Well, at first, I thought you meant by, or the newspaper meant by like states.
Okay, that's not a bad way to look at it. Which state should be in charge?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You always have something to say. Speak out, Lee.
When we said, basically, like, it shows, like, the people not being responsible.
All right, give it a go.
I don't know.
What day is today? Thursday? So we're now into the part where you can share in class. But speak on it. Let's go.
So I just analyzed it a bit more. And they said rulers,
Ooh, that word stood out to you. Why? What does that say to you?
because like a ruler is somebody that controls all. And I was like rulers, like which one should be the rulers? And I was like, are they still in that like monarchy mindset, or like what's up with them?
Great question. You're back on my good side. There we go. There we go. Yeah, are they still in this monarchy mindset where they still think somebody has to rule them? They're still looking for somebody to rule them. Good job. Good job. My favorite word in this whole thing? Us. Us. Because what this shows me is we are at this weird middle ground as a society between having a ruler and it being us. And it's a really weird gray area to be in of like, who rules? Is somebody going to be in charge? Who's going to make decisions? What are we going to do? I'm scared. Where's my mom? That's me basically every day. But to me, those two lines, us and rulers, reveal a ton about colonial mindset in terms of like, what's next? Again, the war is over. Now what? It's really easy, not easy, but in the grand scheme of things, it's easy to declare independence. It's harder to figure out what to do next. So it's no shame that we do it poorly. It's no shame we do it poorly because it's hard to do in the first place. I include this because this makes me happy. I always give you cheesy history when I can.
That's awesome.
And it's a Jay-Z song, which is very inappropriate, but also a good song. So, super relevant. 99 problems. But a king ain't one. Took you a second. It ain't that sharp on the pop culture references. Those are included literally just from my bed. So, big picture, as we start, let's talk about the kinds of changes the revolution inspired. What's the most obvious type of change the Revolutionary War gave us? What kind of change is that? Political. So the political change is obvious. We go from monarchy to a non-monarchy. We don't quite know yet. From a king to no king. From England to no England. But there's other problems as well that are more societal changes. Because of the way we declare independence, because of the way we try to justify our freedom, we start having Americans question this meaning of equality. What does it mean to be equal? Who is equal? All men are created equal? Who's a man? But those are legitimate questions, right? Are slaves men? Are propertyless men men? Are they created equal? So there's legitimate social questions that come from the big political change in the Revolutionary War. Many Americans want to get rid of this idea of aristocracy, where power is in the hands of the rich and the elite and the ruling class. You'll learn about this next year in AP Gov, called elitism. That the ruling, educated elite should run society. She's nodding. That makes me happy. I mean, she learned something this year. We're good to go. Fighting the British tyrannical system makes slavery seem hypocritical. All men are created equal, except for my 218 slaves that I own and father children with. Thomas Jefferson. Women start questioning, hey, we played a huge role in this war. Why don't we have a bigger slice of society? And I'm going to tell you this now, because this happens every time there's a war. Every time there's a war, marginalized groups play a role, and they carve out space in society. When the war's over, they find themselves questioning the rest of society, saying, if I can do it for society during the war, why can't I do it for society or for myself after the war? There's a reasonable argument to be made that every single war has advanced the rights of African Americans. Every one. World War I, Harlem Renaissance. World War II, Civil Rights Movement. Because everybody in society has to raise their game. And when the war's over, you don't have to put your game back down. You're like, hey, I did all this stuff. Like, leave me. So for women, for marginalized groups, for African Americans, for slaves, every war is going to give a chance for this to happen. This is why we study war, not because you guys like guns and battles. I mean, I'm sure you do. I don't care. Because of the societal changes that come because of it. So to get rid of the idea of American aristocracy, we see states lowering or eliminating the property requirement to vote so that every male, has a say. But states aren't yet offering universal male suffrage. That's going to happen in the era of Jackson. We see a bunch of states that I talked to you guys about on Tuesday abolishing slavery. Where are all those states that abolish slavery? In the north. Yeah. Vermont, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, for examples. But we see three really important founding fathers: Benjamin Franklin, John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, creating societies for abolition of slavery. Creating whole clubs that have a huge influence in urban society, places like New York and Philadelphia. And they're advocating for the abolition of slavery. So there's this, you know how much I hate superficial history? It's like I always tell you guys the deeper truth. There's this superficial myth history that says, oh, all the founding fathers are racists who owned slaves. Not all, just most. So I have three good examples, Franklin, Jay, and Hamilton, for those that are actively advocating for abolition. We see African Americans demanding the right to freedom in petitions, democratic process, in lawsuits, democratic process. Our first slaves in Massachusetts sue in court for their freedom and win. So our society is making steps to get more democratic. We see the majority of states also separating church from state. To really put our money where our mouth is, to have a republic society that does not have religion making decisions about politics, which is a big deal. And finally, for women, a term I'm going to use today, and I'll come back to on Monday and Wednesday next week, Republican motherhood. Republican motherhood, where women are given a really exalted role in society, not by 2018 standards, because I want you to apply our context now to 1783. That's not fair. But this exalted status of women have a huge responsibility to raise well-educated, well-spoken, civically engaged, participatory, awesome kids. So it's not a good, I know, you've made your views on women clear, we don't need you chuckling. It's not good by 2018 standards, but it does allow for a new position of respect for women in a society in which, if we're going to have a republic, which we'll talk about in a minute, we need to make sure that people participating in the republic are really quality people, are virtuous, civic-minded, they care about the world around them. Ladies, that's your job. So again, I see some very angry women faces, I'm glad. Men, you should be angry about this as well. But it's positive for the time period, and that it's a step in the right direction for respect for women. Now, before we get into our first text, we need to figure out the context and situation. So as you guys know, because I stressed this to you on Tuesday, when we declare independence, what does the Second Continental Congress tell each state to do?
Write
their own constitution. Hey, you're Virginia, you make your own state constitution. You're Virginia, make your own state constitution. You're New York, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Delaware, make your own constitutions. So the colonies become, this is important, not a united nation. They don't become a united country, they become a bunch of independent states that govern themselves like countries. There's this belief, it's like, oh, patriotism, revolution, yay, America. After the war, they go right back to being their own little separate countries. Just like they were colonies, but now they're independent. We need a national government, though, to provide national government type things. Defense, treaties, foreign policy. And that's where the Articles of Confederation is going to step into. But before we get to the actual articles, we need to look at what the states are doing and whether what the states are doing are too democratic. So each state writes a constitution, and this constitution in general do these three things, which I want you to get your heads around. They clearly define the citizens' rights. On one hand, you have the right to do this, you have the right to do that, you have the right to free speech, you have the right to representation, all these Enlightenment ideals, and they limit the government. They do these two things which are important. They limit the government's powers, and they guarantee rights for the people. You guys read Virginia's in class on Tuesday, their Declaration of Rights. All men are equal, we have these rights, government can't take those away. The states guaranteed the natural rights, just like the Declaration of Independence does, and 8 of the 13 states actually included bills of rights. that the citizens have these rights that the government can't take away. This is very important foundational knowledge for later, I promise. These Bill of Rights ideas. And almost each of the states made the executive, the governor, the king, the figurehead of the state, super weak. And they gave all the power to the legislature. All the power to the legislative body. So I'll let you catch up for that and I'll explain to you why that's important. So how does a republic work? Who knows how a republic works? Steve Mulder did his job last year. Krime, can you explain a republic to me?
From what I remember, it's just putting aside your own beliefs for the sake of
Sure.
greater good.
Common good? Okay, I agree with that. I'll come to you. Heidi, republic. If you don't remember, it's okay because I'm going to explain it.
I was gonna say the same thing Kareem would say, but they want the common good for people.
Common good? Okay, I dig that. I dig that. Pedraza.
They all have like their own representation.
Beautiful, representation. So I'll put the people here because the people are at the top. People have all the say in the world. They're going to elect representatives. If I can spell. I can. We're good. They're going to elect representatives. So as a class, who would we elect as our representative? You guys want to elect me?
David, the president.
Obviously. I'm way more qualified. No. No, we can't elect anybody who's under 85 pounds. And then these representatives from all the cities, the counties, the towns, however it works, they're the ones who are going to make decisions. If this was a direct democracy, how would it look?
Decisions are made by
Talk to me.
each person representing themselves.
Yeah, there's no representatives. The people make the decisions. So in a republic, it's this legislative branch, this legislature. It's a word you're going to see a bunch in the text. This legislative branch is the one making the decisions on taxes, on laws, on rules, on regulations, on whatever. Today, minimum wage, speed limits, taxes, where we're going to spend our money, funding for schools. That all comes off of your legislature. Okay? So in a republic, that's super important because that's where the people's voice is heard. We're going to limit the governor, because that reminds us of a king. We're not going to have a president that reminds us of a king. We're going to give all the power to this group of people. Who thinks this is progress from England? Raise your hand. This is a better way to make decisions than what England was doing. Think about it. Why isn't it better? It's not a king. We're picking our representatives. Why isn't this a good thing? We're giving them too much power. We're going to read about that in a second. So state legislatures. Now Pennsylvania, I'm going to use as the example because Pennsylvania is a perfect example. In their constitution, they're going to create a unicameral, it's a good word for today, a unicameral legislature. So this group is going to be one house. Not living in a house, calm yourselves. It's going to be one legislative body. Is that better than a king? Yeah, sure. I agree. We're all going to pick the representatives. They're going to make decisions for us. That's where Pennsylvania's going to run things, for their country in Pennsylvania. Just keep in mind, it's not quite states under the government anymore. It's not the way it's working. One house, and this house has all the power. The power to tax, the power to do whatever the heck they want. They have the power, and there's no governor. There's no executive branch. What's that? At the same time it's bad, we'll get to that. Good. She thinks it might be kind of bad. The state government's going to pay for elementary education for everybody. It's a good thing. And there's zero property requirements to serve in the legislature. So even if you don't own property, you can still be in this legislature. Even if you're broke as hell, you can still participate in your local government. So what's good here? Who likes this idea? Who doesn't like this idea? You said it's bad. Why is it bad?
I heard someone say they can give them so much power, which they can manipulate and use.
Okay. Fair. Why is this good? Why is this better or progress? Speak to me and then speak to me and then speak to me. Go.
It gives the power to any type of social class. It doesn't matter if you have money.
So it's good for social class power. Yeah, I dig that. Talk to me. Yeah, everyone, what's up?
Their own opinion.
Your opinions can be expressed. Cool. You said you had a reason why it was good.
Yeah, the people are able to choose their representatives, which is basically like an opportunity that they get to use their voice, but at the same time it's bad because they can give all the power to them and they can manipulate it.
I see you. I see you. Corinne.
It provides social mobility. As
Ah.
well as, like, it also gives like chance to education, so people won't be
As stupid. I support that. Anytime we can enhance education, some of our more rural states, I'm going to support that idea. I'm going to argue this is good for two reasons. This is a theme I'm going to hit all year. I haven't told you guys this yet. For democracy to work, you need two things, and only two things. Education, so you don't have idiots making decisions. If these people are idiots, the whole process falls apart. Education and participation. Because if these people are idiots, they're making bad decisions. If these people don't participate, the small group makes decisions. And then your final process doesn't look like an entire thing. So in this case, education, yes. Participation, yes. Good sense. But I like your point. We're going to come back to it. John Adams sees this, and he says, this is, in capital letters, he even said it in capital letters too. I'm kidding. Too much democracy. This is too democratic, a not strong enough system of government. Let's read and find out why. So what we're going to do here is John Adams looks at these states. It's not just Pennsylvania either. John Adams looks at these different states and he says, I have some really important thoughts on this. So I'm going to publish a book about it. I'm going to title it, John Adams, Thoughts on Government. So he publishes John Adams, Thoughts on Government.